My name is Lisa, and I've been a content creator for about 4 years now. I'm not a huge influencer, but I've partnered with several brands and collaborated with many other creators. I won't name my account or anything. I'm not getting paid for advertisement. In my time of being a creator, it's been a fulfilling journey, but like everything, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. For context, this happened about 3 years ago, back when TikTok was at its peak. With everyone being inside from the pandemic, many people turned to social media for entertainment. This of course caused me to get in front of the camera and create videos which built me a decent audience back then. Now the content I mainly did involved me dancing to popular songs, as that was a big trend. This made for many people, especially men, to take notice of this. Men seeing a woman in her mid to late 20s dancing was basically a goldmine to them. I got a ton of weird and creepy comments from this, but I knew that was expected. While I found some of them creepy, there was one comment that I had seen that nearly sent a chill down my spine. I had just recently posted a video where someone by the username of James210 said, "You're looking damn good today, Lisa." Now, you might be thinking that it was just another creepy comment, but the thing was that I never displayed my real name. My page only displays my last name, so there was no way someone could have found out my first name. Mind you, I keep my first name a secret, and I don't even talk in my videos. Assuming it was maybe a friend or family member playing some sick joke, I just deleted it and tried to forget about it. As time progressed, however, the more James continued with his comments and even tried DMing me. His comments ranged anywhere from innocent compliments to straight up derogatory. I only ever remember responding to his DM telling me to leave me alone and to stop trying to contact me. This seemed to have worked for quite some time, and I actually ended up forgetting about the whole thing. One day, I was in my room filming a TikTok as usual when I hear my front door being closed. I live in an apartment with my boyfriend, so I assumed he had gotten back from work. He must have been home early, I thought, and I happily called out to him, "I'm in here, honey." However, I was met with silence and sort of began to feel that sense of dread. It was kind of like that feeling you'd get when you know something's wrong but aren't sure what it is. I then hear footsteps slowly approach my bedroom, where I was met with a man who I could only describe as James. He was middle-aged with brown hair, and I could already smell the alcohol off him. He wore jeans with a bulky jacket, and on his side, sticking out of his pocket, was a gun. It only took me a good second to recognize him from his profile picture, and that's when I screamed at the top of my lungs. Then he began to act innocent, saying that he must have had the wrong floor or something. I abruptly scoffed at him, declared that I was not stupid, and told him to get the hell out. At this point, my fear turned to anger, and after constantly screaming at him, he finally got the hint and left. Thankfully, my boyfriend had got home soon after and had stayed with me until I calmed down. My boyfriend was on the phone with the police for a few minutes trying to give the operator our room number and building. The police eventually found our apartment, but not before arriving after 20 straight minutes. I know time seems to go slow during scary situations like this, but the amount of time it took for police to arrive still blows my mind. The account was taken down not too long after he left, so I couldn't provide them with any information other than a description. The police said they'd take a look into it, but that there was no guarantees they would find this James person. That was confirmed, as I never heard back from the police department, meaning that James is still out there. I'm not sure if he realized that what he was doing was wrong, or if he's still harassing people. I have no idea how the hell he found out where I lived, and quite frankly, I don't want to know. If I hadn't stood up for myself in front of James, I'm not sure what he would have done, had I let fear get to me. The fact that he had a gun just proves his intentions were certainly not good. My boyfriend and I moved over 2 states away after this and now live much more happier lives. The only thing that worries me is having to see any more of those comments, wondering if it's secretly James. I hope I never see him again. I'm 17 years old and I recently downloaded TikTok, the app that is taking over the world right now. I mainly got it just because my friends had it, but I didn't really see it as something I'd use much. Now, before I continue, I want to mention about a boy in my class who clearly has feelings for me. His name was Kyle and was around the same age as me. This will be important in the story later. While I was flattered by this, I never felt the same way, and because of this, his behavior began to change. Every time he'd ask me to go out with him, I'd always say no or ignore him. He got really upset whenever I rejected him and sort of made me feel bad when I did, telling me that I was breaking his heart and that he was gonna hurt himself if I didn't go out with him. I want to point out that he has autism, and he would use that as an excuse for me rejecting him. While I'm not prejudiced by any means, I just didn't feel the same way. His behavior continued for about a month with me trying to avoid him at all costs. Fast forward about 2 weeks later, it seemed he had stopped with his obsession with me, which was relieving to say the least. One day, I had been scrolling through TikTok when I came across a video from Kyle. I had Kyle's number, and TikTok would sometimes show you videos posted by your contacts. I can't remember what the video was about, but for whatever reason, I decided to check out his account. I look at his page, and that's when I noticed one of his videos had something that appeared awfully familiar. Upon tapping on the video, I felt my heart sink when I realized that he was in front of my house in the video. He went on to explain to everyone that he was at his, quote, girlfriend's house and how easy it was to find it. I kid you not, I almost pissed myself when I saw this. This whole time he knew where I lived and I didn't even know. I thought about telling my parents about it, but I'm not sure what would have happened if I did. A week later, he was actually expelled from school for doing something else that I won't go into. This caused him and his family to move, and I never saw Kyle again. This just goes to show you that social media can be a very dangerous place and that it could end up being a true nightmare if not used responsibly. And for the love of God, please use my story as a reminder that you could be watched anywhere without knowing. So something weird has been happening lately. For starters, I want to say that I'm an atheist and don't believe in any god, the devil, or any spirits. After this incident, however, I'm not sure what to believe. My girlfriend died on the 7th of August of 2021. Her name was Kayla, and she was an amazing woman. Her death was caused by a drunk driver on the freeway while on her way home from work. Life kind of went downhill for me after she died. I didn't talk to anyone and sort of became withdrawn from society. I spent less time around friends and family, calling off work, and turned to the internet for attention. I mostly spent most of my time on TikTok, as this was around the time everyone had been hyping it up. I spent time on other platforms, but TikTok was the main one. I didn't post on it, I just sort of used it to watch videos and stuff to see all of the popular trends and news. One day, after a long and boring time at work, I had opened up TikTok and saw that I had a direct message from someone. Now, rarely do I ever get any message requests, and when I do, it's usually from a friend. I open it, and to my shock, I see it's from Kayla's account. I guess her family must have forgotten to deactivate her account and assumed that it had to be her younger brother on it. This was strangely weird, as I barely know her brother, and he's like 9, so I was rightfully confused. The message was a single hello, and out of curiosity, I type back asking if it's her brother. However, instead of getting an actual answer, I just get bombarded with 2 more hellos and a how are you. Jaden, it's not nice to be on Kayla's account texting me, I said. All of a sudden, 2 completely out of random texts pops up.
Avocado toast? Yo, I don't know, ask Nathan.
To put it into context, the avocado toast comment was something we always enjoyed eating on Saturdays. And yo, ask Nathan was an inside joke I don't feel like explaining. At this point, I come to the realization that there was a hacker on Kayla's TikTok account and was recycling old messages from previous conversations. There was even stuff her and I had discussed in person and not over the phone. I assumed whoever this person was knew Kayla really well and was playing some sick joke in the worst way possible. Now, you might be wondering why I didn't just delete my TikTok. I wish I had, and I did for a little while, but when it came back, the text started to appear again. Hello happened a million times, and whenever I responded angrily or upset, her hacker would just spit out nonsense. Then one day, I had sent what I assumed was Kayla's hacker a message, asking them why they were doing this and why they seek pleasure in messing with people. 2 weeks later, I get a response, but it's the same recycled messages from previous chats. I remember about 20 plus, but the ones that really stood out to me were how we were going to get married and if I still wanted kids. For whatever reason, those were the 2 that really broke me, as we were actually planning on getting married and having kids. After months of this happening, I really started to miss her and began messaging her, not caring who was on the other side. The thought of talking to her in some way really brought me joy. One day, her TikTok account had suddenly been deleted for unknown reasons. I'm not sure if it was banned because of a hacker or if it really was Kayla. This devastated me for a good while, and I even thought of myself going mental because of it. I ended up going to a psychologist who had to explain that it was all in my head and that my girlfriend really was gone. I know it sounds crazy, but I have no explanation for what took place. If it really was her sending me those messages somehow, I'm entirely grateful for being able to talk with her once more. I miss you, Kayla.